This one is a very simple wooden hinge that you can make yourself. And I'm going to cut it from black walnut. The material needs to be plain to 3/8 inch thick. Now I'll use a sled to cut them to length. So I'll leave all the parts at about 4.5 inches long. So that's enough for 3 hinges. You can see how simple this hinge is. It's just a brass pin that goes through a hole all the way through the wood. And there are finger joints cut in it so that they interlock and they're routed on the edges. The first step after this material is cut to size is to drill all the way through. So I want to show you a simple trick. I want to align the drill to drill exactly in the center. I'm going to use a piece of cut-off stock from the parts to do my test hole. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to drill part way. Now I'm going to flip it, and if I was very lucky, you know, this will line up perfectly. Oh, this is my lucky day. No, you can see it flexes over just a little bit. And it appears to me that the fence needs to be moved slightly away. Okay, let me try again. I'm going to ignore that hole. Seems pretty close. Okay. Now this is going to tell me where to put my stop block. The important thing of getting this into the hole to go right in the center, both from the end of the stock and from each side of the stock, that is really the most important thing in making the wooden hinge, to be able to get this centered this way and this way. But now I'm going to drill, but I'm only going to drill part way through that, just far enough so that the drill enters the hole made by coming in from the other direction. And that will allow it to make certain that there's just a slight bit of overlap in the holes, so that if there is any variance, there will also be a little flexibility right in there where they fit together. So those are beginning parts for 3 distinct hinges. My next step is going to be to use that 3/16 inch radius roundover on these edges. So I have a push block in place there to help me guide it through the cut. We're going to use a finger joint jig on the table saw to cut the fingers forming the hinge. I have a dado blade here cutting a 1/4 inch width of cut. I want a little extra clearance on the knuckle of the hinge so that it doesn't bind. So now these are cut just like using the finger cut joint jig to cut any other finger joint or box joint. I'll pass it through one piece after another, each time lifting up and over. Then when I get to the matching piece, I'll use the piece I just cut as a guide piece for making the first cut on the next piece. So now it's time for the brass pin to slip in and lock the hinge together. All I need to do is cut it to length. I'm going to slip it through. I can sand those edges and drive it in. So this is a rather bulky looking thing at this point, but it offers any number of possibilities. You can use a scroll saw to do some shaping of it that would make it more interesting. You can use carving tools on it to give it an interesting texture. It's certainly fertile ground for the imagination.